you ready for Super Bowl 60, Keith?
Yes, I am, Jones. Got my snacks ready to go. Got some brew dogs ready to go. Got them. I just put them in the snow. They'll be ready for me at the end of the week.
Sounds dangerous.
I got the menu ready to go.
You buy brew dogs on a Sunday.
No, they're going to be gone. I'm going to have to reload.
You're going
to have to reload. That's all right. I know that going in. I know that about myself. So I will reload Thursday or Friday, maybe even Saturday, just so we're sure.
Well, it makes sense, though, because you can kind of sample your way through everything so you know what you actually want for the Super Bowl.
Only the best of the best. It's Super Bowl week for everybody, including snacks and beers. But no, I'm ready. It's been a long time since we've been preparing for a Super Bowl here in New England.
It's been too long.
I mean, it's been a lifetime for my two daughters. They haven't seen a Super Bowl before. This is exciting.
A good point.
At least a Patriots Super Bowl.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Lucas, I guess, was born he was born May of 2018, so he was alive when they beat the Rams last time.
So he has that memory.
Little itty bitty guy.
Yeah.
But he was around for that.
All right. So this is for a lot of first graders, kindergartners, preschoolers. This is their first real go at it.
It's funny. We were watching yesterday at the house. NFL Network's just been replaying all the old Super Bowls.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Okay, so they're just going through them all. And I'm like, this is the Cowboys and the Bills or whatever was on.
Yeah, classic.
And he's like asking all these questions. Oh, is this team good? Who is this? Who are you rooting for? All this stuff. I'm like, the Patriots used to be in this all the time.
Yeah.
They're back in it.
Yeah.
I'm recording all the Patriots, all the old Patriots Super Bowls, the America's games. I'm recording all that stuff. I'm probably going to watch it all by myself. He's not going to sit there and watch it for more than like 2 minutes.
No, he's not going to care for it.
But I'm trying to do it.
Yeah, no, you're getting him in there.
I'm trying to force that on him.
So will this be a year? How much of the Super Bowl do you think he'll watch?
He'll stay up and pretend he cares just because he doesn't want to go to bed.
Yeah.
So it'll be like one of those. It's like,
I'm really into this game.
Hang out with the parents, but really he won't care at all.
That sounds about right.
I think he's loosely pretending that he's rooting for the Patriots, but I don't really think he cares.
Fair enough.
How about the girls?
Yeah, good question. So if the game kicks off at 6:30? We'll see how it goes. They'll get a good chunk of it, I would think. Maybe like halftime.
If it was up to me, he would go to. I'd put him down at 6:30.
They both love Bad Bunny, so they'd be Bad Bunny. No, if K-pop Demon Hunters were at halftime, they would for sure stay up, and they'd be all about it. I don't know if they know a ton of the Bad Bunny catalog.
Maybe the halftime show is not a bad time to just be like, hey, watch the halftime show and then dip out, kid.
I'd be like, the commercials are actually really good, too. We'll wait for the Scream 7 teaser trailer. We'll watch that as a family. Yeah. So they'll get excited about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a lot to talk about all week long. Pats are in the Super Bowl, so if you want to talk about it, you know the number, 617-779-7937. You can talk to us all week long with whatever you want to relating to the Patriots and the Seahawks. You can interact Twitter and Instagram at Jones and Keefe. Watch along and chat. Twitch.tv/Boston WEEI. Always, and I mean always, a healthy chat going on Twitch. Do the same on YouTube. You can watch there. You can chat there. Just subscribe to WEEI. Now, some different things this week.
Yes.
Tom E. Curran is going to join us from San Francisco today at high noon.
All right.
So it is not a Tommy Tuesday.
Tommy Monday.
Tommy Monday doesn't have quite the same ring to it.
It's all right. That'll work.
But he's going to join us today at high noon from Radio Row.
Very good.
Fitzy going to join us in studio today for a couple hours from 11 to 1. Okay. He'll be here with us hanging out, talking about the Pats game. I'm curious his thoughts on how concerned he is about Drake May.
About the wing? About shoulder bone?
He was carrying his bags yesterday, Keefe.
I saw that. No, I did.
Carrying his bags yesterday. Yeah. Held the mic with the proper hand. Yeah. I thought all that was good.
He didn't have...
and he put the hand over his head.
That's true.
Was he wearing a mask? I know he was sick. Should have been wearing a mask. Was he masked up?
I didn't see him full face diaper. No, I did not. I did not see that yesterday out of Drake May.
That's a shame.
It is. He sounded very healthy. He didn't sound sick whatsoever.
No.
But totally, it was sickness on Friday.
Well, maybe he just had the trots.
It's true.
You know?
I didn't.
You sound fine when you have the trots.
Investigate. Yeah. But a reminder, WEEI's big game coverage brought to you by the Catches Law Group, the official law firm of the New England Patriots, by Jean d'Arc Credit Union, tackling financial wellness since 1912. Learn more, jdcu.org, and by Shaw's and Star Market, proud to be local since 1860. It is a Patriots Monday here. Yeah. No Pats for us. You're going to hear Mike Vrabel coming up today with Greg and Wiggy and Ted. I think that's going to air right around 3 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. Live from Radio Row later on today. In the meantime, Keith, the Pats are out there.
Yes.
And Super Bowl week is upon us. I heard Ken and Curtis talking about this a little bit today. You think there's more pressure on the Pats or more pressure on the Seahawks?
I think there's more pressure on the Seahawks. I usually think the team that's favored has more pressure, and they're 4.5-point favorites, so it's not even like a pick 'em or a 1 or a 2-pointer. Like, it's 4.5. Everyone says the NFC's tougher. That division's the best division in football. Although, you know, it's funny. I saw there was some podcast that Fred Warner was on with somebody else. I think I'm on Ross St. Brown, and they were talking about the NFC West, and they're like, "Is the NFC West the best division?" The guy's like, "Absolutely, it is." And the other guy on the podcast goes, "Well, what about the Arizona Cardinals?" And he goes, "Well, you know that meme with the dragons, and there's 3 mean-looking dragons." He goes, then there's the one like goofy one with the tongue out. He goes, that's the Cardinals. He goes, unfortunately, that's the Cardinals. So like, oh, that's a good line. Right. But no, I mean, even though it is Sam Darnold, it's also a great defense in the Seahawks. It's Smith and Jigba, who we all love and is awesome. And it's the #1 seed in the NFC versus a second-year quarterback. And as much as we love him, everybody is still pointing out, oh, strength of schedule this, strength of schedule that. So the Seahawks are expected to win this game. So I think with that, I would say there's slightly more pressure on them.
So I agree. I think there's more pressure on Seattle. I think if you were going to make a case for pressure on the Patriots, it's they have the best player in the game in Drake May. You know, they have, if you feel any of this pressure, the pressure of the Patriots dynasty kind of weighing over them. And on top of that, I think you also have to justify what you're talking about. Everybody's questioning them and what they did this year, and did they just get fat and happy on an easy schedule? And was it easy because Bo Nix was hurt in the AFC title game and no Nico Collins in the divisional round? So I think to silence some of that, I guess you could spin that as pressure on the Patriots.
I guess.
I think there's more on, again, the favorite. There's more on the team from the NFC that we think came out of a difficult division, and the team that's perceived to be the better football team. I think they have more pressure on them this week, and I think that's a good thing for the Patriots. Honestly, it doesn't mean they're going to win the game.
No.
But I think that's a good thing for the Patriots.
But we kept changing our expectations for the Patriots as the year went. So even if you were high on the Pats, you're like, hey, I think they're going to be a playoff team. That was it, right? And then that's where like the talk of like house money started to come up. And you're like, well, no. Look at the landscape of the AFC. You shouldn't just say because they're ahead of schedule, they should stop right there. And so they'd win the division, which nobody predicted they were going to win the division. Even if you thought they were going to be good, you thought Buffalo would be better.
No, we had them in the playoffs, but we didn't have them in the division. Yeah.
But then their first round game is home against Herbert. So you're like, all right, well, they got to win that one, right? Because it was like, you know, is the season of failure, success, all that kind of stuff. But you're like, well, no, they're home favorites against the Chargers. They should win. The next week, same thing. They're home favorites against the Texans. Like, I don't know. I think they should win. And then they go to Denver, but Bo Nix gets hurt. So you're like, geez, like I think they should win.
Oh, I thought that'd be a choke if they lost that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So and I agree. And so now we're to the point where finally it took until the freaking Super Bowl, which goes to show you the kind of season they had. But finally in the Super Bowl where you're like, all right, if they lose this game, and also, you know, depending on how you lose it, or whatever, you're like, what an unbelievable season. Even if you don't win that very last game, I think you'd be able to look at it. If they lose 28-24, something in like a really good game. Patriots usually play competitive, close Super Bowls. If it's one of those and they lose, nobody's freaking out. Nobody's losing their mind. I wonder if Seattle, a little bit different, says, man, this was our chance. Like, this was really our chance. Are we going to be able to, like, grind back through the NFC again next year? Is Sam Darnold going to turn back into a pumpkin? Or all these different things, right? Whereas, like, with the Patriots, I think they're set up for a more cracks at it over the next 10 years based on the coach-quarterback combo.
No, I think that's fair. And I think, you know, this is something that Ken was talking about today. Like, it could be, if you win, you could frame this as a budding dynasty or a team that's going to get to knock at the door again in the future because of what you just said. A coach in his first year here who's young enough and seems, you know, on top of things enough where you could have a sustained run. And you have the quarterback in place where even if the Seahawks were to win, do you look at Sam Darnold as a guy who you're going to be like, he's going to be back here again, and that's a team that you feel like has some long-term sustainability?
No, feels more like Foles. Feels like, I mean, Flacco at least was drafted by the team he was on, so it's different than Flacco. But as far as like that type of quarterback, like, and you know, maybe we'll be the ones that are wrong. Maybe Darnold has a long run in him. I don't know, right? Because he's still relatively young as far as like quarterbacks are concerned. Like, you know, he could play a lot longer, but it doesn't feel like we're going to put him on that list of like Mahomes of like multiple trips to the Super Bowl. I don't see it, you know. But also, I've bet against him 2 out of 3 times this offseason, or this postseason.
I bet against him, you know, from the start of the year. I've never believed in him.
Hey, egg on our face,
and here he is in the Super Bowl. So I do think there's more pressure on the Seahawks. I think that's an advantage for the Patriots. Again, does not mean they'll win the game. Doesn't mean you should plunk down your life savings on the Patriots or anything like that. But I do think that's something working in their favor this week. You can discuss again at 617-779-7937. Again, Mike Vrabel will be on with Greg and Wiggy and Ted later on today. WEEI's Radio Row coverage from San Francisco is exclusively presented by Northeast Men's Health. Call them today, 617-793-5000, or visit northeastmenshealth.com. One other thing that I think is going for the Pats this week, Keefe, Seattle should be a little distracted. And I know it's a big game, and it's the biggest game they've played in for a lot of them, but between the team sale, you see this on Friday, that they're now randomly up for sale?
I know, you're supposed to wait till after you win it like Wick Grossbeck.
You're supposed to throw the parade and talk about how you celebrate in parades and get paid in parades, and then you turn around and sell them right after the parade when you're fresh off the duck boats. No, this team is already up for sale. And their offensive coordinator is now getting ready to take the Raiders job. I mean, if anybody's going to be a little unfocused or a little distracted going into the game, that's another small thing where I'm not telling you to pick the Pats based on this, but another small thing that's in their favor because there's a lot of outside noise, outside distractions going on with Seattle.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that the Patriots, usually when teams are in the Super Bowl, they do lose their coordinators or assistant coaches or whatever. It happened to the Patriots all the time. I mean, there was a long stretch where we're saying, all right, what's it going to be like without Charlie Weiss and without Romeo Crennel and Josh McDaniels and even like Matt Patricia, for God's sake. Like, there's so many guys that were doing interviews or one foot out the door. Hell, they even had a head coach who was leaving one year during the Super Bowl. So, like, it can be a big distraction. This Patriots team, though, it's like, no. I think Thomas Brown might have had a couple interviews, but McDaniels isn't going anywhere.
Nope.
Great news, by the way, on Terrell Williams. Great news on the health front there for him.
Cancer-free and on the trip.
But, like, defensive coordinator, and I know it's been more Zach Core all year, but like all those guys, if they want to, are all returning next year. And so, and the team's not for sale, right? So like all these potential little distractions aren't there for the Patriots. They kind of are there for the Seahawks. I do think, the offensive coordinator potentially leaving is probably a little bit more for the players than the sale. Like I think the sale is one of those things where like at the very top end, you got a lot of people with a lot of big-time conversations and talking about lots and lots of money changing hands. But some of these players, I mean, you might be free agent leaving anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're so focused on the Super Bowl. I think that's just so beyond your comprehension.
Probably right. It's just so weird.
The team is strange.
The team is going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And now you're up for sale?
Yeah.
Like, that's just so strange that that's the backdrop to your team being there. But I agree.
Yeah, they're just, like, interviewing potential buyers during the week of the Super Bowl.
I agree that is probably less distracting to the players than their OC.
Yeah.
Potentially getting ready for his next job.
And it's not even for the players as much as, like, maybe, Kubiak spending a little bit 100%. More time doing all that. Like, he just has to. Like, you have to be prepared in making your pitch to be a head coach, so all of your attention is not on your current game plan. Like, it just can't be. So, like, I think that's a slight little advantage for the Patriots, sure.
I do. I mean, I think if you have a team with more pressure on them and a team that's a little more distracted this week, I think that team is Seattle.
Yeah.
And I think those things favor the Patriots when you get to Super Bowl 60 on Sunday evening. 617-779-7937. I heard Ken and Curtis talking about this a little bit this morning as well. Text line says, not to be that guy.
Uh-oh. Don't be that guy.
But you could also say Drake May better win this one so he doesn't go the Marino route. So if you want to make the case that there's more pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a lot of pressure on May. I could see that. I think if you're talking about the two teams, I think Seattle has more pressure.
I mean, so I understand why it's brought up.
Darnold's facing way more than May.
But, like, the Marino route, becoming a top 10 quarterback of all time?
Yeah, just never getting there again and winning.
No, I understand that's what I understand what the texter meant, but I would also think that looked even worse on, like, how the team was built around him. Right? Like, if you think Mike Vrabel and Stretch and Robert Kraft are just going to, like, leave it to Drake May the way the Dolphins left it to Marino or the way the Bills are currently just leaving it to Josh Allen, then maybe. But it didn't stop him from being one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He just didn't win again. But no, I don't really have that fear. I mean, he's already in the Super Bowl, something that MVPs Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson haven't been able to do. Like, he already leapfrogged those guys. They got like a 5-year head start, and he's already in the Super Bowl. So now I'm not really worried about the Marino thing.
And to that point, another texter, the AFC could be at full strength next year. Mahomes and the Chiefs, Ravens, and potentially the Bengals. They didn't even mention the Bills in there.
I mean, it could be.
No, but this was your chance really to get in there and break through.
Yeah.
But I'd say the same thing about Buffalo's never winning because they had their chance this year and they didn't capitalize.
Yeah, right.
The Ravens, if they were going to get out of the AFC, this was a great year to do it, and they didn't capitalize. So, yeah, maybe the AFC will be tougher
maybe
next
those
year.
teams bounce back, but I think they're also going to be looking at the Patriots like, oh, we also got to go through the Patriots. And I'm not saying they're going to go. The Pats are going to go to like a million Super Bowls in a row. I just think they're going to be one of those contending teams. Like I think you can already kind of vault them up there with, how much we're giving the Bengals a whole lot of credit for making it the one time, and that's another one where you could use that and you could say, well, is that an example? I don't know. They're a pretty cheap franchise. They've had bad defenses. They've had bad O-lines. Like they have a quarterback who kind of wants to quit, and they got a couple receivers. Like that's kind of all they have. Patriots are much more of a complete team than a team like Cincinnati.
Okay. Who do you think has more pressure on them entering the Super Bowl? Who do you think is the more distracted team? I would answer Seattle for both of those. What does it mean for the Patriots in Super Bowl 60? Again, you can discuss 617-779-7937. Fitzy going to join us in studio at 11 o'clock for a couple of hours. We're talking to Tommy Curran at high noon from Radio Row today, so stay tuned for that. And before the hour's out, we're going to do this each and every day throughout the course of the week. Prop-a-palooza, Keefe.
Yes.
4 different props each and every day. We'll have 20 by the end of the week. We'll give you all your Super Bowl props. We'll see who wins. I guess Billy won this last year, is what we were
Billy
informed.
is the reigning defending champion.
All right, so Billy's a sharp back there. So follow these props very closely when we do that. At 10:45, we'll get into the Pats send-off yesterday from Gillette Stadium as well. That's right after Trending with Billy Lamb.